Okay, so tuition begins. It is, let's see if anyone's on. We will wait. Okay, so we've got someone watching. Is that Harris or Numan? Pop your name in the chat box so I know who's on. So as soon as you manage to log on, make sure you type your name in the chat box. Right, so I've got 2 people. So Harris and Numan, if you just pop your names in the chat box, that would be good. So I know that everyone's on. I've got 3 people. I don't know the third person. I've got Harris. That's good. So shall I start by marking your work then, Harris? And then when Numan gets on, I'll do his as well. So your mum sent me your work. So that's Numan's, that's Harris. Let's have a look. Okay, none of these are done the way I want them to be done. What looks like. Hey, good to see you, Numan. I wanted these factorized and you've all just solved them. And that's not what I was looking for there. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to do them with me now, because that's not what I was looking for. I was looking for factorizations there. All right. I already know you can use the formula. Formula is not difficult. And to be fair, you couldn't even really use the formula here, because to use the formula, you have to be equal 0. And neither of you are in that situation. It looks like your connection's gone down as well. So I'm just going to wait for that to pop back up. So are we back on yet? It doesn't look like it. I can't see, there's only seems to be one person watching, and I don't think it's either you, Harris, or you, Numan. Something's gone wrong with the Wi-Fi connection on your side, I think. You are both on, you're good. Okay, brilliant. Okay, it's just the numbers have dropped. I don't know why that is. Maybe the numbers are not accurate. Okay, cool. So what I wanted from the homework wasn't what you did. What you did was use the formula, as I said. So let's do one example. Let me explain to you what I wanted to happen. So we've got 4e. So the first question I said was 4e squared plus 13e plus 9. And what you did was you put that equal to 0 and solved it. But yet I didn't want that. I wanted it factorized. So what does that mean? I wanted you to use the AC method, all right? Which was the one where we put it into 2 brackets, all right? Now, how do you do that? So I want 2 numbers that times to make 36. Now, where do I get 36 from? 4 times 9. And I want 2 numbers that add to 13, all right? Now, where do I get that number from? It's the middle number. So you want 2 numbers that times to make 36 and adds to make 13. Again, it's just going to be 4 and 9 on this particular occasion. Now, it's not always going to just be those 2 numbers. Sometimes they're different numbers, as you're going to find out, right? So the problem is this, right? You find 2 numbers that times to make 36 and adds to make 13. And here you've got 4 and 9, so we're just going to use 4 and 9. So 4 and 9 does it for us, because 4 times 9 is 36 and 4 add 9 is 13. And then you break the initial part of it down. So it goes 4e squared plus 4e plus 9e plus 9. All right? So hopefully you can see that. I'm going to just move the camera so you can. It's the other way around, isn't it? Oops, never mind. That's better. Okay? So can I ask you to copy that down for me? And then we'll finish off the rest of this question. Because basically the skill I'm trying to teach you here is how to factorize, not how to use the formula, because I already know that you know how to use the formula. You're not getting anything new out of that. All right? So copy this down, and then I'm going to move on. I'll finish off the rest of the question. All right? And while you're doing that, I'll come up with some more examples. Okay, so can you pop in the chat box the minute you finish copying? Okay, so just pop it in the chat box as soon as you finish copying, and then I'll finish off the question for you. And also put in the chat box whether you understand or not. So the AC method requires you to find two numbers that times to make this and this. So 4 times 9 is 36, or two numbers that times to make 36, and adds to make 30. All right? So pop in the chat box for me if you understood up to this line and you've copied this line. So I'm just waiting on that in the chat box. So as I said, as soon as you finish copying for me on that, that so far what I've written, let's have a look, see if people have said it. Brilliant, excellent. So now the last line we had written there was 4e squared plus 4e plus 9e plus 9. Yeah? And what you need to be doing there is factorizing out 4e from both of these. You get 4e e plus 1, and you get 9e plus 1. All right? So first of all, how did I get these two? So you factorize the first two things, and they've both got 4 and they've both got e in common. So you can factorize 4e out, leaves you with an e on this term and a 1 on that term. If I factorize out 9 from here, 9e factorized out of 9 will just leave you with e. 9 divided by 9 is 1. Yeah? And when you're finished, you go 4e plus 9. So whatever's on the outside goes in one bracket, and whatever's in the inside of the bracket just stays the same. All right? So pop in your chat box what you think of that. Do you understand how that worked? Are you ready to do another example? Because that was what you were meant to do for homework, not use the formula. Okay? So I hope that makes a level of sense to you. And I'll need you to put in the chat box whether you understand or not. Because otherwise it starts getting, I'm just saying stuff and you're not, feeding back to me on it. Kiduki? Right here. Let's see what people are saying about that. Yep, you understand? So, yep, good. All right, so that's your factorization. So let's try an example for you to try now. And the example that we've given you here is going to be, let's pick a slightly friendlier one. Let's do this one. So we've got 6x squared minus 19x plus 10. All right. So I want you to have a go at that. I'm going to give you about 3 or 4 minutes to try it. All right. See if you can factorize that. Remember, that means put it into 2 brackets. All right. Oh, is it buffering again? The thing I want you to factorize is 6x squared minus 19x plus 10. All right? 6x squared minus 19x plus minus 10. Sorry, 6x squared minus 19x plus 10. That's what I'm asking you to factorize. So if you can factorize that for me, pop the answer in the chat box. If you can't factorize that for me, write down the last step you get to, and then you get stuck. All right? Don't know why it's buffering, because it's not buffering on my side. Okay, appears to be working. That's good. It's not buffering on my side, I will say that. So you've got 4 people now watching. I wonder who these people are. You're stuck, but can you write down the last line of working you've got, Numan? Because that's super helpful to me, for me to know where you're stuck, not just that you are stuck. See? Okay. So type in the chat box, rather. Stupid computer sometimes. Bear with me just a moment. I tried to do more than one thing on the negative bit. Okay, cool. So we need to find 2 numbers that multiply to make 60, but add to make minus 19. All right, fine. Let's try some numbers. 10 and 6 won't work. Yeah? Whether it's minus or plus will not work. Yeah? That's fine. So that won't work. What other numbers times to make 60? 20 and 3 doesn't work. Doesn't matter whether you've got pluses or minuses, won't work. So 10 and 6 is dead. 20 and 3 is dead. Got to start being a bit creative now. How about 15 and 4? Hold on a minute. 15 and 4 make 60. 15 and 4 make 19. So if I chose minus 15 and minus 4, then that works, doesn't it? Okay. Are you now able to do it, having been given the numbers? That's the question I'm asking you now. So you've been given the numbers. So minus 15 and minus 4. Minus 15 and minus 4 will do it for you. Yes. What are you confused by, sir? I mean, again, with these messages, you've got to say what you're confused by. Where did you get confused in? With the 2 numbers. Okay, cool. It's very much a case of you have to think of what 2 numbers work for you. So it's got a times to make 60, because 6 times 10 is 60. So you have to start thinking numbers. What numbers times to make 60? First one, obvious one, is 10 times 6. But there's no way you can put 10 and 6 by adding or subtracting that's going to make 19, is there? There's no way of doing that. You can't do it. But then you can try 20 and 3. But then 20 and 3 won't work either. 22 times 3 does make 60. But like, once you try and make 19 out of it, you're dead. So I started thinking again, okay, what else times to make 60? 15 and 4, right? 15 and 4 definitely make 60. And they also can be combined to make minus 19. Now, how? If you got minus 15 and minus 4, that would times to give you 60. It will also, if you add them together, minus 15 minus 4 gives you minus 19, all right? So you just have to think of or find those two numbers. That's the goal of what you're trying to do there. And it is very much a case of let's try all the possible options. You could have tried 60 and 1, obviously that won't work. 30 and 2, that won't work. You've got to think of the two numbers that's going to make it work. All right. So that's how you get the two numbers. All right. Do you know what to do after that? Both of you. Do you know what to do with those two numbers once you've got them? Again, I'm relying on your feedback in the chat box. So tell me if you understand what to do with them. And if you don't, that's another story. We need to talk about that. Get out of my way. Okay. Thank you. Too many things open at once, I suspect. But you can go. Entirely. I think I've opened up too many things at once. Let's see what you guys are saying to me. Still don't get it. What do you not get, though? Is it the fact that you need to think of two numbers? Because then you just literally just got to keep trying numbers till it works. Or do you not understand how to find the two numbers? Roll just a moment. You close, please. I said close, please. Close. Here you go. Let's see. You close, please. Oops, sure. Never mind. Cancel. Okay, so you're saying that. Let's try it. So we've got 15 and 4. We'll try that. I'm going to start doing the working out on this now. 6x squared minus 19x plus 10. So it's 6x squared minus 19x plus 10. All right, so we factorize this by going, well, that's going to be 6x squared. I'm going to go with minus 15x minus 4x. As I said to you before, it doesn't really matter which order you do stuff in. You'll end up in the same place anyways, yeah? These guys you can factorize 3x out of. So that gives you 2x minus 5. This you can factorize, I guess, 2 out of. And that gives you 2x. If you factorize out negative 2, that'll go minus 5. And that'll be 2x there. So the answer is 3x minus 2, 2x minus 5. And that should be a factorization. Quick expansion. Am I right? Yes, I am. Okay, so that's what I got. The only mistake I can see that you made is, why is there a 4e? Where did the 4e come from? What have you done there? I don't understand that. Did you put the numbers in different orders then, Iman? Did you go 6x squared minus 4x minus 3? I'll do that for you. It's the same answer. You end up in the same place. But have a look at my working out first and see if you understand that. And then look in your own working out and see what mistakes you get. And where have you got a mistake from? You did the previous question and mixed it with this question. Okay, just do this question, right? One at a time, right? You can't start mixing up questions like that. Obviously, that's going to cause trouble. So can you retry this question and prove that you understand what's going on here? Because that's super important. Stupid thing. Let's see if that runs perfectly. That runs perfectly. Okay, so you don't have to do the second part. When you do the first bracket, you're confused. Okay, fair shout. So you know when you've decided you got 15 and minus 15 and minus 4, you break the middle one down into two parts, minus 15x and minus 4x. All right? then you factorize the first two, and then you factorize the second two. So this third step relies on you knowing the skill of factorization. So from here, this was the original question. From here to there, I needed to find the two numbers, yes? The ones we've discussed, the 60 and the fact it gives you minus 15 and minus 4 to give you minus 19. So that's how you get from here to there. That's where that comes from. I don't really care what order you put those numbers in. It might actually be easier to put it the other way around. Doesn't matter. You end up in the same place. You've got to factorize the numbers, first two as a pair, the second two as a pair. So if you factorize 6x squared minus 15x, they've got an x in common and they've got a 3 in common. Gives you a 3x on the outside. If you factorize 3x out of 6x squared, you're left with 2x. If you factorize 15 and get 3, you're left with 5. If you factorize x and x, obviously there's nothing left. So that just becomes the side, and you get 2x. 10 divided by minus 2 is minus 5. That's why it's a minus 5 there. Whatever's left inside the bracket, you keep there. Whatever's left outside the bracket, you put in a separate bracket. So it's almost like, is it buffering again? I mean, can you see it on Numan's one? You might need to share a device just for a minute then. That might be an issue. And also, like, I think your Wi-Fi has got that issue because, just bear with me a moment. Now you can see it, right? Did you hear the explanation on this? Do I need to repeat the explanation? Here we go. You didn't hear it. Okay, so I'll recap that. So from here to there, we just used the two numbers we decided it was, minus 15 and minus 4, right? So here you had minus 19. There's minus 15, there's minus 4. Where did those numbers come from? It was two numbers that times to make 60 and adds to make minus 19. Those numbers are minus 15 and minus 4, all right? So that's what we've been talking about for the last, what, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes. So that's where from line 1 to line 2 we've come from. Now, bear with me a second. Thank you. After that gets to be interesting, because what you need to do is factorize the first two and factorize the second two, all right? And it doesn't matter which way around you put these in. You could have gone 6x squared minus 4x minus 15x. Wouldn't change anything. You'd end up with the same answer eventually. What two things have these guys got in common? They've got a 3. They can both be divisible by 3. They can both be divided by x as well. So you've got 3x on the outside. If you factorize 3x out of this, you get 2x minus 5 inside the bracket, because 6 divided by 3 is 2, x squared divided by x is x. Here you've got 15 divided by 3 is 5, x divided by 2x minus 5. If you put everything that's outside of a bracket inside a bracket, you've got a bracket, and whatever you've got that keeps coming up as a bracket, so the 2x minus 5, that's the other bracket. And just be aware of that, right? If these two brackets are not the same, you've messed up something. All right? So I hope that makes sense to you. Can you pop in a chat box if it does or if it doesn't? Because these are kind of like the fundamental skills of what we're doing. And we're going to keep doing it till you get it. So there's been lots of practice coming. Okay, brilliant. So I hope that is actually making some level of sense to you. That's good. Okay, let's see what's going down. You don't get the last bracket. The last sum is literally, this is 2x minus 5, that's 2x minus 5, that's 2x minus 5. Why'd you get the, oh, the right left-hand one? Okay, cool. Situation a little bit. So we keep beating the same example to death. Let's do another example. So otherwise we're going to be, you know, this time I'm going to do the example. So I'll wait for this to load up. So here we've got 6x squared minus 5x minus 4. And I'm going to do this one. All right, I'm going to do this one. Let's see if you can see that comfortably. Excellent. It's buffering. Don't worry, I'll wait for it. It's fine now. Okay, cool. So first things first, we've got two numbers. They've got a times to make minus 24. Where do I get those numbers from? This one times this one. And it's got to add to make minus 5. All right. So I start thinking to myself, okay, cool. What numbers times to make 24? I'm going to go with 8 and 3. They do. And if you use the right choices of numbers, minus 8 and plus 3 are the right choices of numbers here. Why? Because minus 8 times 3 is minus 24. Minus 8 plus 3 is minus 5. All right? Are we all happy up to this point? Post the message to say yes or no. How did I get minus 8 and 3? I tried out numbers that fit. Times to make 24, adds to make minus 5. Yeah? So pop a comment in the chat box for me on that one. All right? What am I up to? Okay, so I'm waiting on you. Do you understand up to this point? Yes or no? Yes? Good, brilliant. Happy to hear it. Happy to hear it. Okay, cool. Okay, brilliant. So now we've got minus 8 and minus 3. And what do we do with those things? So minus 8 and plus 3, right? What do we do with those things? We use them. So what we're going to do, we're going to break this down into 6x squared minus 8x plus 3x. Why are we doing that? Because what we've got there is minus 5x, and minus 8x plus 3x is minus 5x, and that's comfortable. They're both equal to each other. This thing and this thing are the same thing. All right? If I factorize this guy, what can I factorize out of it? I can factorize a 2 and I can factorize an x. Yeah? Because a 2 goes into 6 and 8, and an x goes into x squared and x. If I do 6x squared divided by 2x, what have I got there? I've got 3x. 8 divided by 2 is 4, so I've got minus 4. For my first two, I factorize this one, and this is what I get. Then I look at my second one. Can I factorize anything out of here? The answer is, well, the only thing you could possibly factorize out of there is 1. It's very, very simple, really. It's the same process over and over again. I seem to have 5 views. Who's watching this? Is it buffering? I mean, have a chat with the guys who are running your Wi-Fi, because you have that quite a bit of the time, and it's literally not my side. Okay, I mean, it's a bit of an issue for you, I think, over there. So if you have a look at this, I mean, there's not much you can do about it now, but you know. Yeah, for me, I haven't got. I think it may be just because you're literally both streaming. Okay, cool. In any case, let's have a look at. Do we understand how this happened? Pop something in the chat box. Pop something in the chat box for me. That's weird. What's I need 2? One will do. The thing is, when I know when it's my side buffering, because like something pops up on my live stream that goes, you've lost contact with something. What does that mean? Expected to? Yes, please. Oh dear. Right, so irrespective of anything else, do we understand what's happening here now? Did we understand that example? Is a question I'm asking you. If the answer is no, can you put it in a chat box? The answer is yes. Can you put it in a chat box for me? Good. This question, yes, good. Thank you for being honest about that. It was this question. Let's try yet another one then. We'll do one more. 1, 6, 5, 4. Those numbers are big. How about this guy? So here we've got 6x squared minus 1x minus 12. All right. So I want you to try and get as far as you can. Try this question. When you get stuck, type in the chat box where you got stuck, and then I'll help you out with it. All right. Let's see if we can get a bit further. I'm not expecting you to get the full question right. Maybe you can. I don't know. But I do expect you to try and get further than you did last time. All right. You to be, as soon as you get stuck, type in the line of working that you're stuck on. So I've got to this part. I don't know what to do next. What are you confused by? Telling me you're confused is literally worse than useless. Well, it's not worse than useless, but it is useless. Do you not know what your target numbers are for a start? Do you know what I'm saying? I seem to have 7 viewers at this point. What the hell is going on with my life? It's like random tuition for 14-year-olds. I mean, we're getting all kinds of views. Well, to be fair, it's good. I mean, more views the better. It makes me famous, but you know. Say hello in the chat box if you're watching this, by the way. I'm always curious to know who's watching this stuff. No, you didn't, my dude, because you said you understood up to the 3rd line at least on the last example. So what's the difference here? Why can't you do the 3rd line here? That's what I don't get. You should be able to do the basics at least, right? Because you've seen them demonstrate about 40,000 times at this point, right? What 2 numbers does it need to times to add up to? That basics should be done, right? You should be able to multiply to what and add to what. Write that down in the chat box if you can. Or to add to. Okay, it's very, very simple. Listen carefully. You multiply these 2 numbers. 6 and minus 12 make minus 72. See, look, Numan, I can sort of sympathize with that. The second part, yeah, okay, fair enough. But the times and add, we have literally done 1,000 times. If you've watched the videos, even if like it's lagging, that's one thing, right? You can watch the video again and have a look. So it times to make 72 and adds to make minus 1. Harris, can you confirm you understand that, yes or no? All right, and we're gonna move here until you've kind of said whether you understand where that number has come from or where that number has come from. All right, because otherwise we're just wasting our time, just repeating the same thing over and over again for no purpose. 2 came from in this situation and negative 1. And Numan, I will deal with your I don't understand second bit, which I think is a fair shout. Yes, good. Okay, you should have been able to do that, right? Okay, let's find 2 numbers. Minus 72 and minus 1. What 2 numbers times to make 72? Well, it can go with 12 and 6. Is that going to work for us? No, because it won't make minus 1. There's no, if we put pluses, minuses, whatever, it won't work. 9 times 8, let's go with that. 9 times 8 would work. How would it work? Negative 9 plus 8. Yeah? Because negative 9 times plus 8 is negative 72. The times to make this and adds to make that. Okay? You might find it difficult to do that, but do you understand what you are meant to be doing? And you realize you're going to have to be able to do it by just, doing trial and error till you get the idea. All right? So do you understand that? I'll wait for an answer. Okay. Let's see what people are saying on this one. Yeah, good. Brilliant. Okay, so again, it's starting to freeze up again. It's not a problem. Don't worry. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the second part is what Numan's talking about. We take those two numbers, -9 and +8, and go, okay, let's put them. And I mean, I'm going to do it as this. It doesn't matter which order you do them in, as I've said. So I have split the -1x into +8x and -9x. Why do I do that? Because it helps me factorize. That's the reason for doing it. I hope that makes sense now, right? Okay. You've got by now, right? You are able to answer the question from this point. So this part should be the easy part. The hard bit was actually this. Now let's factorize the first two. What do they both factorize? They both factorize with a 2 on it. I can see that, and they both factorize with an x on it. Numan, do you have the same problem? Are you buffering as well? So that's going to be 2x, and that's going to... So what have you gone there? I'm just going to do the working out for you. Yeah, fine for that one. Let me just expand. I'm just going to expand it in my head. So 6x squared minus 9x plus 8x minus 9. Okay, minus 9x plus 8. And then you'd get what? -12? That looks all right. I think we're going to end up in the same place. Yeah, 2x minus 3. Just like I said, you will end up in the same place. You did it the other way around. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. So that's 3x plus 4. That's right. Your final answer should be this bracket and that bracket. Wait, let me just show you. Sorry. That's what your final answer should be. It only buffers for 2 seconds. Well, don't stress about that, right? That's going to happen. Both of you are running the same channel at the same time from the same house. These things will happen. It's not to worry about it. Just let it go, right? Looks like sometimes longer, but it will happen, yeah? That looks like, Numan, you've got the idea because you've got the answer right, so well done. Harris, do you understand what's happened here? And if you don't understand, make it very, very clear what bit you didn't understand, which line. Type in the line you didn't understand, because then I can go through it with you. Just bear with me a second. Okay, that's fine. Okay, let's have a look. Right. Put a bracket back. Okay, cool. All right, first bracket line, I need help on it. Okay, cool. This guy here then, all right? Fine. So what you've got to do is factorize the first two. Do you know how to factorize? If the answer is no, you need to say so now, otherwise you're just going to keep dying over and over again in these questions. Do you know how to factorize? If you need to learn how to factorize, that's fine. I'll teach you how to factorize. But if you do know, then all I'm doing is I'm factorizing the first two things, and I'm factorizing the second two things. Okay? So then it should be really simple for you. The thing I've underlined here, I factorized. The thing I underlined there, I factorized. All right? So this factorized is this, and that factorized is that. And that's all there is to it. Oh, so you might need a bit of help, right? Okay, fine. No problem. So let's have a look. I'm just going to rub off the top because we don't need that anymore. So suppose you've got 6x squared. I'm going to do this line. 6x squared plus 8x, right? Right? So you write that. What letter goes into x squared and x? X. But only x to the power 1 because that guy's only got x to the power 1. So the only thing that can divide both of these is just x. Then you open up the bracket. You make a bracket. And you divide this by that and this by that. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. X squared divided by x is just x. 8 divided by 2 is 4. And x divided by x is just 1, so it's just become both of these things. Well, the only thing that can divide into both 9x and minus 9x and minus 12 is going to be minus 3. All right? Minus 9x divided by minus 3 is 3x. Minus 12 divided by minus 3 is plus 4, because a minus times a minus makes a plus. And a minus times a minus divided by a minus is also a plus. That's how one-line factorization works. And if you need practice on that, I would say go away and practice on that before you try this. Because that's something you should know already. Right? You should be able to factorize. Okay? That's how this line comes about. Once you've got this line, if you've done this line correctly, whatever's in both of the brackets should be identical. 3x plus 4, 3x plus 4. And that's one of your answer brackets. And then whatever's not in your answer bracket, so these two things here, get put in a bracket. All right? Does that now make sense to you? Because we need to do another example to make sure that it does. All right? If not, you need to explain where it doesn't make sense to you. All right? So let's see what you're saying about that. So I'm basically waiting on you now to tell me, did you understand what I just said there? And if you didn't, tell me what was the problem. You understood the factorizing? Well, then the last step is really quite easy. All right? Just put whatever's not inside a bracket inside its own bracket, and then just take the other bracket. I mean, that's much, much easier, actually, than the previous step. Because all you need to do is take what's outside the bracket, put it in a bracket. So the 2x and the minus 3 go inside their own bracket, and then you've got 3x plus 4. That's it. Pretty simple, right? I hope so, anyways. So in about 10 seconds, I'm going to rub this off. We're going to do another example. We've got to keep focusing on these examples to see if you really do understand what's going on. All right? And I expect you to at least get halfway on these. So let's have a new question. Let's have a new question. No, it's too hard. That's too easy. So here we've got one. 20x squared minus 21x plus 4. Okay? So that's the example I'm going to ask you to do. So you've got, what would that be? Oh, yeah, obviously. So that's the one I want you to try. Okay? So you try and get as far as you possibly can. Hopefully you'll be able to get the whole thing this time. But at least as far as you can. So I want you to try this example that's on here for me. Go away, thank you. Go away, thank you. Thank you. Go away. Yes. Yes. So as soon as you've got a solution or you're stuck, put something in the chat box for me. Okay? Could it be 20 and minus 1? 20 and minus 1, would that multiply to give you 80? So you want two numbers that times to make 80 and adds to make minus 21. Now 20 and 1 would not make 80. All right, so it's definitely not 20 and 1, or 20 and minus 1, or minus 20 and minus 1 either. Because 80 is your target here. So remember, you're multiplying these two numbers to get your the target to multiply. So we're looking for two numbers. Are people struggling to find those two numbers, basically? Is this the problem? Is that why we're not getting answers? Because you can't think of the two numbers that will make it work. Okay, so let's think of numbers that make 80. 4 and 20 doesn't work. Yeah, because that will make 21. 10 and 8 doesn't work. 20 and, yeah, so 4 and 20, 10 and 8, 40 and 2, no, doesn't work. Let's try something clever. 15 and 6. Well, I mean, that does work. 15 times 6 is 80, yeah? Hold on, is it? No. 10 times 6 is, you know, is that 15 and 6 won't work. What would work? We need a number. Is it 16 and 5? Let's try that. 32, 30. Yeah, that's it. 16 and 5 would do it. Yeah? So minus 16 and minus 5 are your numbers. Minus 16 and minus 5. Okay? So you had to try a bit. Even for me, it took me a few seconds to get it, but it didn't take me more than a few seconds. I just kept trying factors of 80. So I've got minus 16 and minus 5. All right? So you've got 20x squared minus 5x minus 16x plus 4. Make what you can of that. All right? But you've got to keep trying. 15 and 6 don't work, but 16 and 5 do. Yeah? 16 and 5 do. That's right. Right, so you've got 20x squared minus 5x. Yeah, that's what I've done. That's what I've done. I agree with that. Now factorize this one and factorize that one. Let's see what comes of it. Numan, are you dead? I haven't heard from you for a little while. Okay. Once you should be able to factorize these two relatively easily. I'm going to give you a solution in about a minute. Are we stuck before I do that? So I need to get feedback from you. Because this is starting to get a little bit annoying, I'm not going to lie to you. Because I don't even know whether you're understanding or not, because you've been quiet. Okay. Excellent, that's good. Factorize out 5x on this guy, and you get 4x minus 1. Factorize out 4 on this guy. Actually, factorize minus 4, just to make it balance. Then you get x minus 1 on this guy, 4x minus 1. So your final answer, I'll just pop it here and I'll push this up so you can see it, is 5x minus 4, 4x minus 1. Okay? And that's your final answer. So what do I want you to do for homework today? I want your homework to go back and do last week's homework and factorize the damn things this time. No more formulas, factorization complete, yeah? I hope that makes sense, yeah? Excellent, that's good, yeah? I think that's right as far as I can see. 5x minus 4. So 5x, yeah, 5x minus 4, 4x minus 1, okay? Cool, that's fine. That's us done for today. Take care. I'll drop a message to let your mum know what your homework is so she doesn't ask what your homework is. Look after yourselves, and I'll see you next week. Bye.